Thank you so much, Patricia, for inviting me to this important panel and this terrific exhibit. I find it ironic that we're celebrating the 250th anniversary of the founding of America, because it's the first time in American history, I think, that an administration has been going after scientific research and science in general. I think you'd have to go back to 1633 when the church was going after Galileo to make him recant that the sun, in fact, did not go around, the earth did not go around the sun, to think of such a strong anti-science bias in this administration, and it's affecting all of us, really, and it'll affect our children and grandchildren. To remind you of what's happened this year has been like really overwhelming. It was no surprise that he pulled out of the Paris Climate Treaty. Everyone expected that. What no one expected was that 400 scientists who wrote the National Climate Assessment would be let go. Because if you're a MAGA person, the National Climate Assessment is used by farmers to determine when to plant, what to plant, etc. And then when the EPA repealed the endangerment finding, it means carbon dioxide is no longer considered a pollutant. And there's no gas really except for methane. That's more dangerous to our atmosphere than carbon dioxide. There was a proposal to destroy the satellites OCO2 and OCO3 that measure carbon dioxide, and they work. They're perfect. The whole world uses them. Just recently, 900 sensors in the ocean that measure ocean temperature and ocean salinity are going to be deactivated at a time when El Nino is coming back in the Pacific, which makes no sense because you want to know how hot the water is becoming. The National Center for Atmospheric Research in Colorado is being disbanded. The whole world uses their research. For those of us in New York, NASA lost their office at Columbia University. The Earth Institute has been disbanded and is all over the city. That was like very important to me because the reason I'm here is because I was working part-time at Columbia and I attended free lectures by Gavin Schmidt when he was just a researcher. And he really turned me on to climate science. I would go up to him after the lecture and ask him, what did you mean by that? What he meant. So Gavin eventually became the director of the Goddard Institute for Space Studies, and when I curated an exhibit that opened at Yale 2 years ago at the ISM Institute, I asked Gavin to be on my panel, and we talked about different climate issues. So the work, is my work here? There it is. Hello. So the title is WM squared. What does that mean? It's a scientific term, watts per meter squared, that measures incoming solar radiation and outgoing radiation. It's a unit of measurement. And the work actually focuses on a study that came out in 2024 called the State of the Planet Report. A very alarming study. You don't have to be a scientist to understand this stuff, really. I'm just going to read the first 2 sentences of this study. Everyone will understand what it's saying. We are on the brink of an irreversible climate disaster. This is a global emergency beyond any doubt. Do you have to be a scientist to understand that? I don't think so. And who are these people who wrote the report? Like, who were they, right? The world's top climate scientists. Dr. Michael Mann works at the University of Pennsylvania. Stefan Rahmstorf and Johann Rockstrom work at the Potsdam Institute. Bill Ripples at Oregon State. Naomi Oreskes is at Harvard. These are the world's top scientists. So what happened? Why was it nobody reported this? Because it wasn't reported, although I read about it in the Guardian newspaper in the UK, because I'm a news junkie. Because it wasn't reported, it occurred to me, it might as well be a classified document. If no one's allowed to read it, then it's secret. It's a secret. Should it be a secret? No. Should everyone hear about it? Yes. Should the broadcast, should radio, everyone should be talking about it. The Sunday morning program should be talking about it, but no one knows about it. This is a problem. An ongoing underreporting of climate studies has been terrible for our country. And it resulted in the election of a climate denier who is currently, since he doesn't believe in science, is trying to destroy science, which is what makes America great. What could be more great about America than our science? So how did we get here? when we look at our declining democracy, we have to go back to the 1990s. There was a law passed called the 1996 Telecommunications Act. And the intent of the act was to increase competition, but it had the opposite effect. It decreased competition. It created mergers, many, many mergers in the media field. In 1985, there were 50 media companies in America, 1985. By 2000, there were six media companies in America. And because of that, because you have these big companies in charge of media, they want profits. Because they want profits, it's more important to make money than to cater to the public interest. So what do climate studies have to do with democracy? We're living in a time of climate emergency. But according to the Pew Research Center, 48% of the American public believes that climate change is a result of natural causes. This is weird because 99% of the world's scientists believe that global warming is a result of the burning of oil, gas, and coal. So there's a discrepancy between what the American public believes and reality, actually. The think tank Media Matters actually found that only 1% of reported news talks about climate. 1%. So you can't blame the American public for not knowing about this stuff. Media mergers are still happening. Just last month, Nexstar and Tegna are trying to actually they did merge, are merging, and two other big companies, Paramount and Warner, are attempting to merge. This is going to be a disaster for the American people because there'll be less competition. We can't have a situation where the executive branch is trying to convince everyone else in the media landscape what to put on the air and what not to put on the air. And we saw this with the firing of Colbert and Kimmel. Can you imagine America without comedy? It's almost unbelievable. It's unimaginable, actually. The Attorney General in New York, Letitia James, is suing the Nexstar Tegna merger. And there are several other states, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Illinois, North Carolina, Virginia, and Oregon are trying to halt this merger. I hope that your Attorney General, Dave Sunday is his name, joins the lawsuit, but it's probably not going to happen. But if I had one hope for this panel, it would be that somehow a few of you would make a phone call to Dave Sunday's office to join this lawsuit against these mergers. And with that, I'll... Oh, this is on view now at the University of New England at the Biddeford Uni Gallery. It's called Yurtmobile. And it talks about the uncertainty of the future. We'll be faced with extreme rainfall or extreme drought, extreme cold, extreme heat. Will we all become migrants in the future? You don't know where you live. I mean, look at North Carolina, Asheville, North Carolina, 2,000 feet above sea level. How could it flood? It's impossible, right? 15 inches of rain in 2 days. That's how it flooded. So it's about our vulnerability in the warming world.